the mountain from Grundy, Virginia, where I'm from. And I could not believe it. And we chatted a little bit. And then she went back to those guys, and I never saw her again. I mean, they left soon, and I never, ever saw her again. So I wrote this story. I couldn't stand to see the end of her. This is being narrated by her, and her name is Chanel. That was not the name she was born with, Vatican Hazard. I'll say that. Okay, so this is just Chanel talking. All right. Mama always said, talk real sweet, and you can have whatever you want. This is true, though it does not hurt to have a nice bust either. Since I was blessed early on in both the voice and bosom departments, I got the hell out of Eastern Kentucky at the first opportunity and never looked back. That's how Mama raised us, not to get stuck like she did. Mama grew up hard and married young and worked her fingers to the bone and wanted us to have a better life. Be nice, she always said. Please people and marry rich. After several tries, I'm finally on the verge of this. But it's been a lot of work, believe me. I'm a very high maintenance woman. It is not easy to look the way I do. Some surgery's been involved. But I tell you, what with the miracles of modern medicine available at our fingertips, I do not know why more women don't go for it. Just go for it. That's my motto. And this is why I'm here on this yacht this weekend. I am just about to get Larry nailed down. I feel that he's making a real commitment by bringing me along on this business trip this weekend, and I've cleared the decks for action. Larry's already left his marriage, psychologically. So, the rest is just a matter of time. Well, baby, what do you think? Paradise, huh? This is my fiance and employer, Larry Markham, who certainly deserves a little trip to paradise, if anybody does. I have never known anybody to work so hard. Larry started off as a paving contractor and still thinks you can never have too much concrete. This is also true of gold, in my opinion, as well as shoes. Honey, this is fabulous, I tell Larry, and it is. Turquoise blue water so clear you can see right down to the bottom where weird fish are swimming all around. Big old birds, strange, jagged, picturesque mountains popping up behind the beaches on several of the islands we're passing. What's the name of these islands again? I ask, and Larry tells me, the Grenadines, baby. There's a drink called that, I say, and Larry says, is there? And kisses me. He is such a hard worker that he's missed out on everything cultural. Kissing Larry is not really great, but okay. Honey, you need you some sunscreen, I tell him when he's through. He has got that kind of red-headed complexion that will burn like mad in spite of his stupid hat. You need to put it everywhere, all over you, on your feet. Now, here, put your foot up on the chair, I tell him, and he does. And I rub sunscreen all over his fat white feet, one after the other, and his ankles and his calves, right up to those baggy plaid shorts. This is something I will not do after we are married. Thank you. And let me close with one really shortly. Well, now, things are going to turn out all right for Chanel. You may not think so, but don't worry about it. She's got a lot of resources. Okay, and I'm going to close by reading one little one, because my friend Carol is here, and I know that you remember in the Virginia Mountaineer, where's Carol? Okay, in the Virginia Mountaineer, the column, which was written for 40 years by Mrs. Ober B. Simpson. All right. Which I love. And then I had a job later on an Alabama newspaper editing the columns written by the ladies in all the outlying towns. They all have either 3 names or a name and an initial and a last name. So, and I've always been so interested in every kind of profession that marks the passing of time in a community. You know, whether it is the columnist from the outlying community, or the lady that makes the ornamental cakes for every occasion, or the beautician who does your hair, you know, for your first prom, and then, you know, for your wedding and for the retirement party, and then when you die, there she is in the funeral home. So, you know, she's still doing it, right? So, okay, I'll just read you a line or two. This is my columnist. I love her. Okay. It's named Between the Lines. Peace be with you from Mrs. Jolene B. Newhouse is how I sign my columns. Now, I gave some thought to that. In the first place, I like a line that's got a ring to it. In the second place, what I've always tried to do with my column is to uplift my readers, if at all possible, which sometimes it is not. After careful thought, I threw out yours in Christ. I'm a religious person, and all my readers know it. If I put yours in Christ, it seems to me that they will think I'm theirs because I'm in Christ, or even that they and I are in Christ together, which is certainly not always the case. I am in Christ, but I know for a fact that a lot of them are not. There's no use acting like they are, but there's no use rubbing their faces in it either. Peace be with you, as I see it, is sufficiently religious without laying all the cards out on the table in plain view. I like to keep an ace or two up my sleeve. I like to write between the lines. There's 17 families here in Salt Lake, 20 if you count those 3 down by the 5 Mile Bridge. I put what they do in the paper. Anybody gets married, I write it. That goes for born, divorced, dies, celebrates a golden wedding anniversary, has a baby shower, visits relatives in Ohio, you name it. But these mere facts are not what's most important to my mind. I write, for instance, quote, Mrs. Alma Goodnight is enjoying a pleasant recuperation period in the lovely modern Walker Mountain Community Hospital while she is sorely missed by her loved ones at home. Get well soon, Alma. I do not write that Alma Goodnight is in the hospital because her husband hit her up the side with a rake and left a straight line of bloody little holes going from her waist to her armpit after she yells at him, which Lord knows she did all the time, once too often. I don't write how Eben Goodnight is all tore up now about what he did, missing work and worrying, or how Alma likes it so much in the hospital that nobody knows if they'll ever get her to go home or not. Because that is a mystery, and I'm no detective by a long shot. I am what I am. I know what I know, and I know you've got to give folks something to hang on to, something to keep them going. That's what I have in mind when I say uplift, and that's what I'm doing. Thank you.
Have any questions from Mrs. Smith?
Love your writing. Well, tell me, do you ever do just storytelling, or is the giving a talk and telling us about yourself before, is that as close as you come to the oral tradition in North Carolina?
I guess that's about as close as I come. I really do like to write.
Okay.
So, and I find if you tell stories too much, then you don't write them down. That's one danger, you know. So I really like the writing part.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if your husband gives you as much grief for eavesdropping on other people's conversation as mine does.
No, he's just as curious as I am. He's a writer, too. Here's somebody way in the back. Well, other's work, but it really is nice to be married to somebody who doesn't care if you're working on something and you're just going to write instead of cook dinner, you know, or whatever. And I mean, he gets really into his projects, and I do too, and so that's really very nice. However, I often do turn to him for facts, because I'm not big on facts. And I will need to know, for instance, the dates of such and such happened, and where somebody might be listening to on the radio, or who was playing in the major leagues in a certain day, or just, whatever it might happen to be. So I do often turn to him for facts and perspective. And, the long view, because, what I like is the single person and how, that's what I'm into. And so I need a larger perspective sometimes. And he is very, very helpful with that. So we go, we read each other's stuff, but we don't really edit.
This will be our last one here.
Lee, we just got back from Walmart, and we made about 100 pictures of you at your grade school prom. And
I saw that, me and Bobby Williams.
We were wondering if you would mind if we hand them out to the ladies.
Well, I have to add that I was also Miss Grundy High, and I beat Carol. But I was Miss Grundy High, and my gift, I had two gifts, which gave, I think, two opposing messages. One of them was a steam iron, and the other one was a set of white Samsonite luggage. And it seemed like the steam iron said, get married, marry your boyfriend, and stay right here and iron. And the Samsonite luggage said, why don't you go off to school? So it was a contradictory message. Yes.
So much of your earlier work is about poor people back up in the hollers. How did you know so much about them?
Because that's where I'm from. I'm from the Appalachian region, Grundy, Virginia, Southwest Virginia, and from a tiny, tiny little town where, coal mining. My father had a dime store, so he was not in the mines, but this was the main activity, and it was such an isolated town that, you knew everybody, and you just had the sense of life lived. And then later on, before I wrote the novels, particularly the novels that are historical novels in that region, I have done, years of oral history work and historical research and so on to learn things like, okay, what was a hog killing like at the turn of the century? Or how do you make candles? Or how, was this done or that done? And, mining and just all kinds of, things like that. And to me, that's been one of the great pleasures of writing is to learn more, about your own people and who you are and where you're from, or to sometimes have the pleasure of, living in a distant time or another place. So, Ann Tyler has a great quotation about writing, and I guess we might end with that, and that is just, she says, somebody asked her why she writes, and she says, I write because I want to have more than one life. Which, it's good. It allows you to do that. Thank you.